Some of those actions are going to involve people physically blockading and stopping these rigs from having operations conducted on them. Some of those actions are smaller actions and more personal actions of people committing to change their lifestyles, people committing to lobby their elected officials. And one really powerful movement that's happening right now is divestment of all of our resources from fossil fuel companies. So I'm really proud to bring up on the stage Sarra Tekola from Divest UW, who's had some major strides this year to talk a little bit about the work that they're doing, how it connects to the struggle and fight that we all have. Let's give it up for Sarra.
In 5th grade, I was kicked out of my classroom for calling my teacher a liar. She had said that we had to drill for oil in the Arctic and that it was good for our national security. And even at 10 years old, knowing nothing of what I now know about climate change, I knew she was lying to us. But Shell isn't smarter than a 5th grader. Even knowing there's a 75% chance of an oil spill, they're willing to risk it at the expense of this planet's future. 12 years later, I've been given the opportunity of a lifetime to stand on the right side of history. Recently, scientists have determined drilling in the Arctic is incompatible with staying under 2 degrees of warming. That means if Shell makes it to the Arctic, we blew it, our internationally agreed upon threshold. Now, the 2-degree target is misleading. It may not seem like a lot, but that's 2 degrees on a global average. The deviation could be plus or minus 40 degrees. In fact, the reason the world picked 2 degrees is because after 2 degrees of warming, we hit temperatures humans have never seen before. At 2 degrees of warming, we have an ice-free Arctic. We have seas that have risen 32 feet. That puts countries from Bangladesh to Barbados and too many in between underwater. 2 degrees is not a safe target. And at 1 degree of warming, America's bread basket is a dust bowl. 1 degree of warming will reduce the global freshwater by 1/3 of what it is now. 2 degrees of warming is a genocide to the global south, primarily people of color. You're talking about the extension of the Sahara Desert in the East and West Africa through desertification. 40 years ago, desertification inadvertently kicked my father out of his country in Ethiopia, and that was just the beginning of it. Billions of people will be forced out of their country with no place to go. The fossil fuel companies have had us tricked for too long. They've been telling us we need fossil fuels and that our comfortable lives can't go on without them. They have convinced us progress is only made through exploitation of the earth. And now brainwash civilians recite fossil fuel company talking points telling us that we can't divest from fossil fuels until our lives are divested. But you cannot blame the products of a defected system. Instead, we must take down the defected system. That's right. They want us to blame ourselves, guilt us with the fact that we all use oil, but they are the reason there are not alternatives readily accessible. The fossil fuel corporations have had a chokehold on energy, deliberately destroying any competition, buying up patents of breakthrough clean technology and destroying it. They have lobbied governments away from climate negotiation and carbon pricing, and they have secured higher subsidies than renewable energy. As long as money stays in politics, politicians will be bought by the highest bidder. So what is the only option that is left? The power is in the people. We are the people, are the only ones left courageous enough to stand up against Shell. This government stamped their approval of pushing us past 2 degrees of warming when they approved Shell to drill in the Arctic. But Shell only has about a 2-month opening during the summer to drill when the ice is melted. And Shell made the mistake of coming to Seattle first. The city not only known for its environmentalism, but also its protests. Everyone is coming to protest. This isn't just the radicals. We have scientists, ecologists, and city council members who are willing to get arrested because they understand the severity of this moment. And they're not willing to let Shell destroy our future without a fight. This is a people versus Shell. Complacency equals consent. And if you aren't standing up against Shell, then when they're here in our backyard, then you are also guilty. We need everyone to join us. If we succeed in raising enough hell, we can delay this project to a standstill, as the people have done with Keystone XL. We'll be able to look back at this moment and tell our kids, we saved the Arctic. So tell your friends, boycott Shell, join the Arctivism and resistance, get in a kayak and block the boat. Stand up in whatever manner you can. This is our lunch counter to sit on. This is our history to be made. We hold the world in our hands. Thank you.